This is Tara Lynch, and you're listening to the Nothing Shocking podcast.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking podcast, a non-genre based, all ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
We're putting the band back together.
The numbers all go to 11.
I'm talking about bands that rock. Led Zeppelin. What about Sabbath? AC/DC. Motorhead.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I get up off the ground and raise my head. Days like this, think I should be dead. One for Satan, two for me. Let's cheat the devil, it's fun, don't you agree?
Welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeff Untied, and with me in Dog Bowl Studios is
Coach Nez.
You can find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Libsyn or any podcatchers. Like our Facebook page or follow us on X at No Shock Pod.
You can also find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Rock Rage Radio every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time. Our sponsor is Ragged Records, located in downtown Rock Island, Illinois, and downtown Davenport, Iowa. We'd like to thank the Hong Kong Sleepover for allowing us to use their music for our intro and bumper ending. Tonight's guest is
Tara Lynch. She's got a new single, Badassery, and she had an album out in 2018 called Evil Enough, and they're working on a new album.
Yeah, exciting stuff, man. Great interview. Let's get right to it.
All right, good night.
Good night. Tara, welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'd like to introduce to you my co-host, Jeff Untied.
Tara, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, Jeff. How you doing?
Good.
Well, thank you for the correspondence. Thank you for your willingness to participate. We're really excited to have you tonight. So let's get right into it. You know, as we speak, you're in the midst of recording a new album. Can you give our listeners a sneak peek on what to expect from this new Tara Lynch music, and what's the time frame for releasing the new album?
Well, I was hoping to release it in early 2024, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. It might be, a little later than I expected. Possibly the fall, because releasing something in the summer is pretty useless unless you're Metallica. I would say could be as early as March, if not the fall of 2024. But we are, because, the schedules have to line up right with my producer and the guests on my record, But this time it's myself, Vinny Appice on drums once again, and Brent Woods is producing again. And obviously I've, as always, written everything myself and play all the guitars. So, it's in process, and we're having a good time making it.
Fantastic. Jeff, you got the next one?
Well, can you talk a little bit more about your relationship with the producer, Brent, and how that's going?
Well, Brent's fantastic, but Brent's very busy. So, really, if I want to work with him, I got to work around his schedule. And he works with a lot of people like, Gene Simmons and Sebastian Bach and the Foo Fighters guys and, just tons of people. So he's got a lot going on. So I'm just kind of, trying to fit it in here and there. And then also I've got a lot going on. So again, it's just about scheduling everything out so we can all be in the same place and be doing our thing. And we've already, done some work with Vinny, which is great. And we're in the process. Brent, I've been working with since the beginning. He produced my first record, Evil Enough. And he's fantastic. And I have my little pet name for him, the Ears of Steel, because nobody has got ears like this guy.
Yeah.
And, as a producer, he has phenomenal ideas too. So I keep wanting to work with him, obviously. And so he's worth waiting for.
Oh, absolutely. So, when it comes to writing new music, what has been your approach to writing and recording new music over the years? And has your songwriting and musicianship evolved sonically throughout the years as well?
I think absolutely yes. In fact, both Vinny and Brent had the same thing to say when I brought them the songs. So the way I do things is I write by myself. I lock myself up in my home studio. I've got the ability to record demos in my home studio. And so because I can play all the instruments, obviously, I just basically record everything in. And so when I bring it to, Brent and Vinny, it's a song for them to listen to. Mm-hmm. It's already done. And they basically have to listen to it and say, okay, as a producer, Brent says, here's my ideas and here's how it would sound the best. And then obviously Vinny plays the song with his special sauce, when we record. So I sit and I write everything. I don't have a particular formula or order or anything, but they both had the same thing to say, which was, wow, this is even better material than the first record. It's growth. It's evolved. It's amazing. They love it. And that was really nice to hear. And it's funny because everybody that I've allowed to hear the demos has said the same thing. It's like, holy heck, wow. Oh. So that's nice to hear. So I'm really excited about it.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Well, obviously I've written an album and I put out singles and whatever, but it's like anything. You do it, the first time you do it, you're a little more intimidated.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, I'm not intimidated at all. I've been through it. I know the process. Nothing is a learning curve anymore. And so everything just flows that much more easily.
Yeah, that probably answered the question I was going to ask. It's just about, how have you allowed yourself to kind of push that envelope a little bit more on this one?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, just the way, so, on the first record, I had Mark Bowles come and do a couple of vocals. Yeah. He did Trustless and Evil Enough. And I wasn't even intending to sing the other songs on the record. I was literally going to have guest vocalists, if not Mark, do them all, because I really never thought of myself as a singer. I've thought of myself as someone who can sing, but not as a singer. Yeah. So I'm so focused on the guitar, obviously, and all the other instruments. I'm a very instrumental person. So, I thought, plus I'm not crazy about female voices in metal. Like recently they're amazing, but the way they used to be, back in the old days, not crazy about it. And I thought, I don't want to sound like that, but I don't. So Vinny and Brent convinced me, and Phil Susan, to sing the rest of the vocals on the record. And I did. And, but those songs I wrote for someone else to sing. I did not write them for myself to sing.
Right.
So these songs are songs that I actually wrote for myself to sing. So, the feedback I'm getting is, holy crap, your voice has gotten even better. Well, that's awesome. And it's not that my voice has gotten better. It's just that my delivery is better because I wrote it for myself. And so I know where my strengths are, my weaknesses are, and I, obviously capitalize on my strengths. So, plus again, I'm not intimidated anymore, Well, so, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about, like you said, you've always viewed yourself as the guitarist, and you've evolved as a vocalist. But talk about that transition of going into being the guitarist, and then now I'm in front of the microphone singing and playing guitar at the same time.
That's funny. Well, so when I wrote the record, obviously, again, I was, someone else is going to sing this. I just threw the vocal demos down, and then the guys went berserk and said, why the hell aren't you singing? And they convinced me to do it. But under no circumstance did it occur to me until it got time to prepare to tour that I was going to have to do them both live at the same time. You know what I mean? It was cool. It just hit me like a tennis racket in the face. Like, whoa. I mean, I could see that would have to be done, but it really never hit me until it came time to, get ready to tour. And I went, oh shit. I never did both at the same time. Oh my God. So I locked myself up in my studio and I just forced my brain to line it up right and just do it, And so now, and again, my writing evolved obviously because now I've written these songs to sing and play, and I'm still playing leads while I'm singing. Believe me, none of that's gone away, but it's just so much more fluid now. It's just, a lot more growth, really.
Absolutely. Yeah. Jeff, you got the next one?
Well, yeah. So you kind of alluded to touring. So you like back in 2022, you did a big tour of Europe, and a little bit in April you came around. You were close to our neck of the woods in Des Plaines, Illinois. Can you just talk a little bit about that tour and maybe something you learned from it?
Oh yeah. So the European tour last year was not last year, it's 24 now. Jeez. In 2022. That was as special guest of Vinnie Moore, and it was a month-long run. And it was, in several countries. We hit like Germany and Czech Republic, Austria, and Netherlands, and Belgium, and Italy, and lots of places. And it was really, really intense because I think out of that entire month, we had maybe 2 days off.
Oh, wow.
We played every night of the week. I mean, it was like every single day. And that was really intense because, like, when I did the UFO tour back in 2019, that was a month-long tour as well. But every, third or fourth day, we had a night off. And my voice could recover, you know what I mean? You need that breather. Well, there was nothing like that on this run. It was just like work. And every night I'm having to come out with my powerhouse vocal and, try to sound like it's the first night of the tour and I'm not worn out, Somehow I managed to do it. So it was a big surprise to me that I could do a month-long tour where you're playing almost every single night of the month. And my vocal was pretty strong throughout the whole thing. And, I thought for sure I was going to start losing my voice, but it didn't happen. And, as far as playing the guitar, well, that's easy enough every night. I could do that every night till I'm dead. So I didn't worry about that. I was really just worried about my voice. So it was really cool to actually be put through it and see that I could really do that without any issues. And it was great to see the fan base out there. I was really so delighted by the show of support for me because I'm not headlining yet. I'm an opening artist and I've got a presence obviously, but I really didn't know how far and wide. I mean, I was shocked. People were buying my merch, my shirts and all that stuff on their way in before they ever heard me. And they were singing my songs back to me. So, obviously I've got a real nice fan base out there. And that was cool because I played a lot of places I had never played before. So, and I had a couple of headlining shows out there actually. In, like Austria and the Czech Republic. So that was cool. And, the show support was phenomenal.
Fantastic. Yeah, I guess, for you, idealistically, when it comes to touring preference, do you have like a methodology where you think, this is my comfort zone, I'm good for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, or, I guess in this portion of your career, what's the most idealistic touring for you as far as, I guess, duration goes?
So as far as duration goes, I mean, it would really have to be an offer I couldn't refuse to be out longer than 1 month at a time without a break.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a significant break. And that's, you know, it would have to be something I just could not refuse, basically. I think a month, I'm pretty much ready to come home. You know, I'm ready to have a little bit of a break. It could be a 2-3 week break and I could go out again. Not a problem, but I do need a break after about a month. But again, if it's an offer I can't refuse, and if the tour is longer than that, you are going to have those nights off.
Sure.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Every 3 or 4 dates, you're going to have those breathers. And so I'd probably be able to handle it a lot better. But if it's another tour where you're playing like every single night and it's all, you know, jammed in like that, I'm done in a month. I'm good.
Very good.
I would tour throughout the year, though, if that's what you're asking.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would do many legs of the same tour on the same record, like I did with Evil Enough. I mean, my God, I toured every year since it was released for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, very good.
So
I know you're working pretty much on the new album right now, but do you have any live plans for this year in 24?
no, because the problem is without a release date, I really can't book anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have to, it's one thing at a time. And so fortunately I get to write my own path. It's my record label. It's my show. So nice. I can do it at my own pace. And so that's what I'm doing.
So do you get offers to do these one-off shows and during the summertime or festivals or anything like that while you're in the process of creating this new album?
While I'm in the process of creating the new record, I haven't gotten any offers for this summer yet. And I haven't really looked into it either because, again, I really don't know. I don't want to go out again until I have the new material released.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So I really haven't put the feelers out like I normally would to see what options there are. I've just been kind of laying low and recording, and getting ready for the release. So, I don't think there's going to be anything that pops up this summer. I mean, if something comes along and I'm offered something, then I'll do another Evil Enough show and, throw in one of the new tracks as a surprise, but I did that in Europe, actually. There's a song that's going to be on the new record that I did play out there in Europe. Okay. Just tested it out in front of the audience there. Yeah.
Very good. Jeff, go ahead.
Well, let's take it back a little bit. Let's go back a few years. You play guitar, bass, drums, and piano. Can you talk a little bit about like which one was your first instrument? And I'm assuming it's the guitar, but can you tell us a little bit about your how you got into the business?
Absolutely. My first instrument was guitar, and when I was about 10 or so, my brother was playing. He's about 6 years older than me, and he was always playing. My uncle played. I was born loving and listening to music. I was just born that way. That's the only thing I wanted to talk about. It's the only thing I was interested in. And when I was about 10, I started making noises that I wanted to play my brother's guitar, but he basically threatened to kill me because the 16-year-old thought the 10-year-old would break it. Like, don't touch it.
Exactly.
So, I think I got the nerve up. By the time I was turning 11, I decided to pick it up anyway. What is he going to do? Kill me? Really, really, really kill me? No. So I started, every time he would leave, I would pick that thing up and I play by ear. So it just, I've watched him and I have my ears. So I just started playing songs. I just started playing. I taught myself how to play. It probably sounded like a nightmare in the beginning, but he came home early, caught me playing it, and I thought that was it. My life is over. But instead of killing me, he said, "How the hell did you learn to play like that?" He was totally gobsmacked. I mean, he couldn't believe what he was hearing. I think I was playing like Led Zeppelin or something. And I said, I'm sorry. He's like, no. You're really talented. Keep the guitar. I'll go get myself another one. And that's what he did. He gave it to me. And I never put it down since. Obviously, that particular guitar has been put down. I've got much better ones now. But, that was the start of it all. And then some years later, I figured, well, 4 strings, 6 strings, duh. So I got myself a bass, and, that came very naturally. And then a little while after that, I got myself some drums, and that also came naturally. And my husband's grandmother gifted us a beautiful antique piano, so I started playing that.
Nice.
So that's pretty much how it all came about. And I've just been playing those instruments all these years.
Oh, so cool.
And yeah.
I wanted to bring this up to the more recent, your latest single, Badassery, has been available for the last 11 months for streaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
When it comes to, I guess, this new age of releasing music, and we don't see albums being released as much any longer. We see things going back in the past, releasing singles at a time, opposed to albums. Yeah. Every once in a while, we get artists will release an EP or two or whatever. But is your preference still that old school mentality of releasing a full length album, maybe a 10, 11, 12 tracks on it? I guess where's your mindset when it comes to releasing new music these days?
That's been something that's really been just sort of a thorn in my side, because I definitely have the old school mentality that records, get released as a body of work, an album. But unfortunately, nobody gives a crap these days about a record. Mm-hmm. They just want to hear songs one by one. They don't even know what song is from what record anymore. They go to an artist. And that's pretty much how it goes these days. So I threw Badassery out there, and that is a single, on its own, but it's also going to be on this record. I wanted to put the record out a long time ago, but again, scheduling made it thus, that this is how it's going. Mm-hmm. But so that would be the first single that was released from this upcoming record, and there will be another one. And I'm not sure if I want it to be full length or if I'm going to do an EP and a couple more singles. We're actually really talking a lot about that right now, because the way the business is, people want it in pieces. Nobody wants a record anymore.
And that brings up, my thought is, with the loss of the full-length album and, with singles being the popular culture now, and then occasional EP, but we're losing the art of the deep cut on albums. And for me, that's a real sad thing, because I'm an album listener. Right, I listen to an album front to back to front again. But, for that, do you ever see the way of the old school coming back, saying, hey, the deep cut is what made albums happen?
No. I'm sorry. No.
You popped my bubble there.
Yeah, no, very sad but true. But I don't see that happening again, because really that mentality came from a time where you got a record on vinyl and it had a beautiful jacket, and you studied the artwork on the front and the back. And then you pulled out the sleeve in the middle or opened a double fold, and you saw more. And then you read liner notes, and you absorbed all of that while you were listening to the record. Yes. And if it was a concept record, you went berserk, because wow, that was so much fun when a whole story was being told, or a whole theme was being played, or, however it was conceptually. That is dead. Artwork for albums has turned into a thumbnail.
Yes.
And
now they
you can't see much. Yeah. And now, exactly. They're turning into little video thumbnails and all this crap. There's no more. There's no ability, because so here's how it goes. Because of the way music is distributed, okay, it's impossible for that to be again. It's impossible because music is distributed in pieces now. You can get the whole record. You can get each song. Most people just go through and listen to like those 30-second trials. I'll take this song. I'll take that song. As long as they have the ability to do that, then you can't sell an album. You can't have that feeling, and you can't have those deep tracks. They're not even going to get to them.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
It is a shame, and it's a lost art, and it's very sad. And now what we're dealing with is, dare I say it, AI. And a lot of songwriters are going to disappear because these kids right now that are throwing together music videos in an app and putting out whatever they did on their, they don't even play an instrument.
Exactly.
They've got a computer making the music for them. It's all automated now. It's a dying art. It's very sad. Why am I still doing this? Because I love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Because I love it. For the love of it. And for the last of us that really give a crap about hearing good music and wanting to, really rock out with somebody you get,
You're spot on.
Yeah, but, the way things are going, I just don't see, the whole full-length album thing being a thing. Now, music distribution would have to dramatically change again. I mean, unless or until you can buy a body of work, forget it. That seems to have disappeared.
It has.
Yeah. Looking at your first album, you had, we kind of alluded to that you had a, pretty good star lineup on it. Has those relationships led at all to like maybe working with other artists or guesting on other people's albums?
Yes, actually. Yes and no, because yes, I've been offered, but no, I haven't accepted some things. That's all. I don't want to name any names.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah.
I'm very picky about what I'm going to do because I'm not just some guitarist in a band. I'm a solo artist.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's my name out there, and what you're hearing is the music I write. So if I'm going to play something or on something that somebody else wrote and put my special sauce on it, so to speak, it's got to be something that really fits for me.
Exactly.
And I haven't run into that yet.
All right.
Technology.
I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but
I wanted to bring this back to technology, and you spoke about your home studio, and then you bring this to Brentwood's, and you go into a proper studio and re-record things. But and you talked about this too with people recording music that they're not even musicians, and they're putting their voice through auto-tune, and everything is artificial. But new technology has given, artists, hey, especially during the pandemic, I can record my music here. I don't have to worry about going into a proper studio. And, it was nice and clean because we didn't have to go out into the real world during the COVID-19 pandemic. But, for you, where you're at in your career, do you, like being able to record your music at a home studio with new technology? Or do you prefer that, once again, that old school way of going into a proper studio and knocking things out that way?
I definitely prefer going into an old school studio and knocking things out. And I've never recorded, on the new stuff. When I record, I'm using old Neve consoles and, miking the cabs and the whole bit. It's not all just DI anymore. It's which is what people are doing these days. But yeah, no, I think that there's a lot, I get a lot of compliments on my production, and that's because of my choice. Brent is, again, he's got the ears of steel. He knows how to get things done sonically beautifully, and he's got a great Neve console that we record through, and then when we go over to the steakhouse, they've got one there as well. And so everybody goes back behind the glass and the whole thing, and it's very important to me to get that sound, because I haven't heard that sound from anything easier at home yet.
Yeah.
I can tell the difference. I can still tell the difference, and I know when something's been auto-tuned.
Yeah.
I can actually hear the digital difference. So I still prefer, at home for my demos, I don't care what I'm using because I can't write music on paper. I don't read or write actual music. I literally just record from my brain to the, to the recorder.
Mm-hmm.
So I just slop it all in there. And I use Logic to do that, So I just I prefer the old school proper recording studio with the very best building that's been retrofitted for the sound, the best mics. You're not going to get that at home. You're not going to spend the kind of money an actual studio has spent on the kind of equipment required to get the best sound you can get. You're just at home, you're getting good enough.
Exactly.
So that's my opinion. Take it or leave it.
Very good.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna bring this back to Badassery a little bit. You did a promotional video for Badassery with in your bio it says your love of cars and the racetrack, and then in your video it's got you in a convertible driving around a racetrack. Can you talk a little bit about that? And what is that one of your hobbies outside of music?
It is. So in that video, I'm racing my first Ferrari, and that is a hobby. I don't race professionally, but I've done exhibition races for charity and stuff. I drive road track, so not the oval, the actual road track, double like picks, turns, and all that fun stuff. And Ferrari is still my car of choice, and that's what I drive. And it's just something I love to do. And so that song, was sort of an ode to my hobby outside of music, as well as doing what I love, which is music.
Very good. As we see MTV not being MTV anymore, and there's really no music video hot source anymore for artists, do you still believe that the creation of the music video is a viable medium for artists? Is it a necessity, or is it more kind of one of those things like, hey, let's just go do it for the fun of it type of deal?
So, I still think that if you have the budget, if you have the ability to do a proper video to release with your single, obviously that's the best way to go, because people want to see something while they listen to something these days. They don't, again, want to just what I used to do as a kid. You'd run to the record store, you'd get a record, you bring it home, and you throw it on the turntable, and then you lay down and you close your eyes and you listen to it, or you're reading the album art, or you're doing one after the other, whatever the case is. These days, they want to pull up a YouTube video. I mean, I just know this from my sales reports, YouTube music, videos and YouTube music. There's a lot of people listening that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can have a visual with it, I think that's a pretty good idea, but do you have to spend a lot of money on it? That's the question.
Right.
Okay. And the answer to that is no, no, no. No, you do not. So obviously with Badassery, I did not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a documentary style video, so there really isn't anything to spend anyway other than, getting the footage and just putting it together. I didn't have to make myself levitate or anything. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, just having any kind of a visual along with the track when you're sending it around all over the internet and social media, I think is definitely a plus. But no, you don't have to have a sledgehammer production.
Yeah, well said.
That's my answer. You see a lot of that these days. You look at a lot of videos, and all of a sudden you've got 75,000 of the same video. Everybody is standing in some weird black and white, wicked-looking forest or out in the field.
I know what you mean.
It's the same, I got a potty mouth, I'm sorry, but it's the same fucking thing. And so do I want to put that out, or do I want to just say, okay, you know what? This song was written literally about life on the road and life on the track.
Yeah.
So here's a documentary of me actually doing these things, not just singing about it. Here you can actually see me doing it. Yes, I really do. And I'm having fun. It's okay. I don't mind people seeing what it really looks like, and it doesn't have to be sugar coated, and I don't have to be out in a scary field. And, it did its job.
Yeah,
it got the attention.
Yep.
It did its job. So, as far as future videos, I mean, I've got great ideas and things that I'd like to do. But again, you have to really think about whether it's worth the money. The amount of money you have to spend on a video these days, especially if you're independent like me, is astronomical. And what are you really getting back? What's your return on that investment? And the answer is nothing, because you can't sell a record anymore.
Exactly.
So in other words, is spending a shit ton of money on a music video going to sell more T-shirts at my shows? Because that's the only way I make a buck.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Well said, yes.
So that's my take on that.
Very good.
I was going to ask you about, from all the tours that you've done so far, do you have that one venue that you're like, when I go back out again, I got to go back there? And do you have maybe one on your bucket list that you haven't been to yet that I can't wait to maybe try to play there someday?
Gosh, that's a funny question, because I'm really happy to play anywhere, big or small. I don't care where it is, as long as the people are, I love when the people are really into it.
Yes.
So, I've played a lot of interesting places, big festivals. I've played, places with thousands of people and places with hundreds of people. I mean, it would be fun to go back to the Czech Republic and play on that rooftop again. That was a trip.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
That was a trip. That would be fun. But I can tell you that one of my favorite places that I've played and one of my favorite audiences was in Scotland, in Glasgow. That was incredible. I loved playing in Dublin, in Ireland. I mean, I definitely have my favorite crowds. But as far as the venue is concerned, I'll play anywhere, anytime.
Awesome.
Oh, very good. You've studied guitar and music composition with Steve Vai and Derek Sherinian. Can you talk a little bit more about your time working with the heavyweights in the rock and roll industry?
Oh, yeah. Well, Steve is, absolutely brilliant. And so after I became, accomplished myself and proficient on all of these instruments, because of the people I know, I decided, you know what, let me sit down and you have some time for me. Let's study together and, let me see what I can, anything I can glean from you about this business and, the instrument guitar. And so I sat with Steve over in his Harmony Hut, and he's been to my house as well. We've been back and forth and had a lot of fun, and really, it's he takes a by the note approach to everything, which I think was just the most valuable bit of information. Is really focus on an individual note, not just slopping a bunch together, but focus on just holding that note and move your finger around and see how you can really change the tone. And that was a real brilliant piece of advice, because I've worked very difficult to hone my tone, and I definitely have my own unique sound, and he really made me just pay that much more attention to it. So thank you, Steve. Chad, that was a jam. We had a great time. We had a couple of drum sets, and we had a great time together. And, I just wanted him to show me some Chili Pep tunes.
Yeah.
And Derek, I just wanted him to show me some of my favorite songs on piano for fun. And that's pretty much how that went, these people, so why not, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we're we are running out of our allotted time this evening. We have one last question for you, then we'll leave you alone.
Okay.
I asked this question to most of our guests, the mystery of rock and roll. And you've already kind of alluded to this, but we're going to get back to it again. But the mystery of rock and roll, it really is no longer a mystery with the dawning of all these social medias that are out there. There's no Kiss, there's no Led Zeppelin, there's no bands with mystery any longer. But for you, the artist, and I guess maybe the fan of rock and roll, what do you prefer, that mystery and mystique that rock and roll once had? Or do you like this new age of accessibility? Because, hey, if we didn't have the internet, we wouldn't do this with you tonight.
Right. I'm kind of torn between it, but if I had to pick one, I would say the new age, because, if you have to hide behind some sort of mystique, then what's really there? I don't have to hide behind a fucking thing. Mm-hmm. What you see is what you get.
Awesome.
Every note and everything you hear on those records, you hear live with mistakes and all. And I don't care. And that's what live is, and that's what reality is, and I'm fine with reality. So I don't believe you have to pretend to be some mysterious, creature of the night or something like that to sell a record. Ghost, Tobias Forge tried it and was very successful with it, but now you know exactly who he is, what he looks like, and there's no mystery anymore. Mm-hmm. And now the Ghost fans of that used to love all of that stuff are like turned off. And I think that really sucks. And I think that the music was so good and his art is so beautiful that he didn't have to do all of that to get going. But then again, there's a guy like him, in every country. So I don't know if that's really necessary. Maybe it is to make you stand out, and that's how you got to get started. But I'd love to see him take all of that crap off and stop pretending to be a ghoul and be real, and see if he could still fill a stadium.
Yeah. Well said. Well, like I said, we're running out of our allotted time. Is there anything that we left off tonight that you would like to plug or promote?
No, other than just stay tuned, because, it's definitely coming. It's definitely coming this year. And as far as touring is concerned, once this is released, I'm going to get out there on the road, and I'm probably going to tour for a good couple of years.
Oh, awesome. So exciting. Well, this is how things are going to work out. We're about 2 weeks behind on our episodes, but once Jeff, the editing wizard over here, gets everything ready to go, he'll get it all cleaned up and get all of our boogers out of this. And then we'll send you the link, and please share it where you possibly can, because we'll share it to all of our socials.
Absolutely will do.
Yeah, we appreciate your time. Tara, thank you so much. It was an honor.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
You're very welcome. Thank you. That was a great interview, by the way.
We appreciate it.
Okay.
Take care.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, bye-bye.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
You can have the air. He pulls the plug and says their last goodbyes. Move to the sunshine, fight the grip of nights. If they ever take from you, then you plug out both their eyes. They roll the dice. Take your chances.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.